Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب إله رب العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعليه طيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In the series of lectures or classes that we are having from the book Lessons on Islamic Belief, we have reached to the discussion of Imamat. We will try to finish this discussion tonight, and I'll leave the reading of the text, which we usually do it while we are discussing, for the brothers and sisters to read it on their own. After maintaining the proof of the Khatm Nabuwat, which means the seal of the Prophet, we reached to a point that we had established that there is a requirement of teachers who would explain the book. The reason was the fact because we said Quran is a book that is for eternity, sent by God. God, He Himself mentions it in the Quran, and whatever was required out of mercy of God as a guide or as a guidance was sent through the Prophet, and what required of after the Prophet was those who explain the book, those who are the teachers of this book, teachers who have so therefore we clearly mentioned that as a human, if we take all of humanity, as one body, or as a one insan, one human being, he would reach to a point where he would reach to a point where there is no longer of him to learn as such, meaning that he has those principles with him, and based on that, he's mature enough to carry on his life. He's not like a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old or 4 or 5-year-old, but he has reached to a point where there's no more growth as such for him. Whatever was required, he has reached to this maximum capacity, and based on that he would survive, based on that he will continue. So the same way, as a general picture of all of humanity, prophethood or the coming of the Prophet, the last Prophet, was at a time where Insaniyat have reached to its maximum capacity, and after that, there was no need of any new guidance to be sent, and that is why God clearly mentioned that He has sent everything in the Quran. Now, when we look at the Quran as a very complex text, which was sent in the 23-year period of the Prophet's life, and in this 23-year period, Prophet eventually, the first 2 years or 3 years where Prophet was hiding, was concealing basically. The faith was a covert period. And after that, you have the Meccan period, 10, 11 years. After that, you have the migration of the Prophet, the 2 years, and then after that you have the migration of the Prophet, where the Prophet lived in Medina. And within this period, if one want to be kind of exact, 3 years, first 3 years were spent secretly, cowardly, and then the next few years were faced by many trials and tributes, the persecution of Muslims in Mecca. And then finally you have a period where Prophet migrated to Medina, and that was very little as well. And within that period as well, the Quran was being revealed, and explanation was required, and Prophet was busy with battles and so many affairs, and to really teach the community, to teach the Muslims to the in-depth, was not really carried out by the Prophet, and he left that task to the Imams, to the teachers who came after the Prophet, and they were also appointed by God. And this is the Shia belief, that all of the Imams who came after the Prophet were appointed by God. Now, the Imamat is first attended by the theologians on the basis of the Quran, then on the basis of the Riwayat, and finally there is a bit of an ishara or an indication towards the philosophical aspect, which I would deal with that angle as well, which I believe that should be more emphasized than the naql, meaning that, you know, the Quran and also the hadith, that is valuable, but not for someone who doesn't not accept the Quran, who does not accept the riwayat. What is of value is that philosophical, mystical aspect of the imamat, and how important leadership or imamat is, which is a divine affair. Now, when we look at the Quran, the theologians bring the verses called Yawma Nad'u Kull Unasin Bi-Imamihim, chapter number 17, verse number 71. It says that the day we shall summon every group of people with their imam. So the God have clearly mentioned that he will call every nation with their imam. So this means that there is a requirement that every era have an imam. So Shia says that this era is the imam of our time, Imam al-Asr, Imam al-Hujjah. He is considered to be the imam of the time. So this is one of the Quranic proofs that they talk about, that every nation will have an imam in regards to that. Then the other is the divine guide, which relates to the imam as well. So this imam is someone who will be called on the day of judgment. He will be summoned. Every nation will be brought by their imam, and this imam who the people will be brought by will be hadi, will be someone who is considered as a divine guide. وَيَقُولُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْهِ آيَاتٌ مِّن رَبِّهِ وَإِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُنذِرٌ وَلِكُلِّ قَوْمٍ هَادٍ. So there will be had. There will be hadi for every qawm. Now this لِكُلِّ قَوْمٍ had is not returning back to the Prophet. The verse is talking about the Prophet. It says that the faithless say, why has not some sign been sent down to him from his Lord? You are only a warner, and there is a guide for every people. Now, the Prophet is Mundir, Anta Mundir. And there's it, وَلِكُلِّ قَوْمٍ هَادٍ. So every qawm and every nation will have a hadi, right? And there is a guide for every people. Now, who is this guide? Then once again the Quran comes and it says, أَفَمَنْ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْحَقِّ أَحَقُّ أَنْ يُتَّبِعَ أَمَّنْ لَا يَهْدِي إِلَّا أَنْ يُهْدَى. This hadi that is appointed by God, or this imam who is hadi is appointed by God, is someone who is guided by God. As the verse goes, chapter number 10, verse number 35. Is he who guides to the truth worthier to be followed? So he who guides to the truth worthier to be followed, or he who cannot guide unless he is himself guided, right? So who is worthier? The one who God have appointed, right? Or is the one who himself is in need of a guide? So this means that the hadi, which the Quran is talking about, the imamat, every qawm will be brought with their imam. This imam is the imam of the time, is the proof of imamat on the basis of the Quran, right? The Hadi and also the Imam. Now, another verse, the third Quranic verse, which talks about or which is used by the theologians as a proof, is this one. فَكَيْفَ إِذَا جِئْنَا مِنْ كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ بِشَهِيدٍ وَجِئْنَا بِكَ عَلَى هَؤُلَاءِ شَهِيدًا. Chapter number 4, verse number 41. So how shall it be when we bring from every nation a witness? So there will be a witness. There will be a witness. There will be a shaheed. We bring you as a witness over them. So there will be hadi. Every qawm will have a hadi. Every qawm will have an imam. And every qawm will have a shaheed. So now, in another verse of the Quran, it says that وَيَوْمَ نَبْعَثُ فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ شَهِيدًا عَلَيْهِمْ مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَجِئْنَا بِكَ شَهِيدًا عَلَى هَؤُلَاءِ. Now this was, the exegists have said, it's talking about the Prophet. Prophet is the one who is shaheed upon the nation. The day we raise in every nation a witness against them from among themselves, we shall bring you as a witness against these. Now, many tend to say that, like Tafsir Kashaf, Zamakhshari, and other Sunni exegetes, they say that this is talking about the Prophet. The verse further mentions that the Prophet is a witness. In this verse, it says, yes, the Prophet is a witness over them too, right? And as they say, وَجِئْنَا بِكَ شَهِيدًا عَلَى هَؤُلَاءِ. So Prophet is a shaheed, but at the same time, it's talking about every qawm will have a shaheed. So here, if you look at it, the Prophet is also shaheed, no doubt, but it says, and also says that every nation will have a shaheed, the same way as every nation will have an imam. So this becomes a third verse for the theologians. One is the every qawm will be brought by the imam. The second is the لِكُلِّ قَوْمٍ had, every nation will have a hadi, and this hadi is guided by God. And the third, that every nation will have a shaheed. No doubt, Prophet is also one of the shaheed, right? Now, why do we say that the Prophet cannot be the shaheed for this ummah, right? The Quran is saying that, Prophet is the shaheed in that verse. But the Quran also says there will be shaheed for every ummah, and that is not particularly to the Prophet, but a shaheed of every era. The reason is the Quran once again. In chapter number 5, verse number 117, it says, وَكُنْتُ عَلَيْهِمْ شَهِيدًا مَا دُمْتُ فِيهِمْ فَلَمَّا توفيتني كنت أنت الرقيب عليهم وأنت على كل شيء شهيد. This is regarding Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, which says that it says that, and Hazrat Isa says, I was a witness to them so long as I was among them. But when you had taken me away, O Allah, when you had taken me away, you yourself were watchful over them, and you are witness to all things. So Hazrat Isa was shaheed till he was with his qawm, but when he was raised by Allah, Allah is becoming the shaheed, right? So the qawm requires a live, living among them shaheed. Allah is always shaheed. That's what Hazrat Isa is saying that. The same in the like manner, Allah is saying in the Quran, "Oh Rasul, you're the Shaheed, but لِكُلِّ قَوْمٍ شَهِيد." And a Shaheed needs to be present there. This is the argument. So every Qawm will have a person who is considered as a Shaheed, who will be watchful over them. And who is this Shaheed? It says, وَيَقُولُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَسْتَ مُرْسَلًا قُلْ كَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكُمْ. Rasul is saying that, the faithless say, you have not been sent by God. Say, then, so the people told to the Prophet, you haven't been sent by God. But the Prophet says that, قُلْ كَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا. Allah is my Shaheed. But Prophet also introduces another Shaheed. وَمَنْ إِنْدَهُ إِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ. The one who have the knowledge of the book, he is also Shaheed. So God is my Shaheed. In another verse, Rasul is also Shaheed. And in the verse of the Quran, the one who have the ilmul kitab, he is also Shaheed. Who is Imam Masoom? According to the traditions, it says that the one who have the knowledge of the book. I don't need to remind you of that throne of Sheba, Bilqis, who brought in the blinking of an eye, who had the part of the knowledge of the book. But this verse, it says all of the knowledge of the book. That verse says part of the knowledge of the book. So here it clearly says it is no one but Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Now, when we pay attention to the riwayat, we find that, clearly the Prophet have mentioned, after me there will be Imams. After me there will be my representatives, my Khalifas. They will be after me, and they will come one after the other, and Prophet have taken the names of it. Or for example, you would have hadith which points out to that when Prophet gave that Surah Tawbah, that Barat, and he said for one of the companions to take that, and he called him back. And then here the companion questions that, why did you call me back? What was the reason for you to call me back? And then here the Prophet says that أَفَمَنْ كَانَ عَلَى بَيَّنَةٍ مِنْ رَبِّهِ وَيَتْلُوهُ شَاهِدًا مِنْهُ. If it says that, is he who stands on a manifest proof from his Lord, and whom a witness of his own follows, like one who is not such. So it means that God tells the unbeliever that not only does the Prophet have a manifest proof with him, but he is also followed by a witness from himself, minhu, shahidun minhu, someone who is from him. Okay, so that means that someone from the Prophet himself, minhu, should be the one to take the chapter of Bara'ah. Because first, one of the companion took the chapter of Bara'ah, then he was brought back, he was called back, and then he questions, why have I returned? Then this verse was revealed. When these verses were revealed, the Prophet asked Abu Bakr to go and deliver them to the unbeliever, right? And while on this way, the Prophet sent a man to call Abu Bakr back, who was the first Khalifa. He was brought back. So when he returned, while he was very concerned, and according to some versions, he asked the Prophet whether any verse was revealed against it. The Prophet replied, no, but Jibreel came to me and said that this verse must be delivered by myself or by a man from me, minhu. This is pointing out to that. That verse is pointing out minhu, from him. So Prophet completed this verse by the tafsir of saying that someone from minhu, and then he sent Imam Ali alayhi salam. It's very clear, right? So he was sent. So this is the hadith proof. This is a proof on the basis of riwayat. Then you have Man Kuntu Mawla, very famous hadith, the hadith of Ghadir Khum, which is unanimously accepted without any controversy. And however, it doesn't really make sense that the Prophet gather everybody and say that Ali is my friend. Mawla really means who's the Khalifa. Mawla really means who's the master, but not just a friend. It doesn't make sense that Prophet gather all of them and everybody knew that Ali is the friend. Now he's saying this hadith Ghadir Khum, stopping the caravan, asking the people to stop, and then say that Ali is my imam, my friend. So the hadith al-Thaqalain is also one of them, which talks about inni tarikum fikum al-Thaqalain kitab Allah wa itrati ahli bayti. That's another proof. So we have these hadith al-Ghadir, hadith of the deliverance of the chapter of Bara'at, hadith of that hadith al-Thaqalain, and also there is a very famous hadith which talks about that Amirul Mu'mineen is the one who would be the leader, which is the Dawat Dhul Ashira, which took place. That is the one Hazrat Ali alayhi salam clearly said, you are my Khalifa, then and there in the very beginning. Now, finally, to sum up the discussion with the proof of imamat from a philosophical point of view. See, as we said that Tawheed is the most important and complex and subtle reality that God wanted to deliver to its maximum, to its full capacity, what is required of man to understand, right? We said that our journey is a journey of Tawheed. We are here to increase our ma'rifah and understanding of Tawheed. And Tawheed cannot be understood by Amr Bakr or Zaid. It is a very intricate and very complex ma'rifat or knowledge, because God He Himself clearly says, Subhanallah amma yusifun. God cannot be depicted, God cannot be explained, understood, attributed, illa ibadallahi mukhlasun, except that the one who is mukhlas, one who is purified by God, they are able to really depict God. So who are these purified ones? Innama yuridullah layudhiban hum ar-rijs. The purified ones are the Ahl Bayt, that God have purified them. So in Surah Safat, Subhanallah amma yusifun, God cannot be depicted, attributed. Clearly, God cannot. We cannot say. But God also says that, hold on, illa, except the one who are the purified ones. They can really explain to us, teach us, give attributes to God so that we learn. We cannot close the books, schools, universities, knowledge, teachers from learning God, because we are here for gaining ma'rifat. Our ibadat, ma khalaqtul jinna wal insa illa liya'budun. Our ibadat, our servitude, our worship depends on ma'rifat. If I don't have knowledge of God, what type of worship that would be? Many people do worship. There are different types of worship. Can anyone say that bowing down in front of an idol is not worship. He's worshipping, his ibadat. And God have created us for ibadat. But ibadat requires marifat, an understanding of God. That is why Amir al-Mu'minin says that Kamal Tawheed, the perfection of Tawheed, is nafi and sifate, is negation of the qualities. I think we have discussed this in the discussions of Tawheed earlier. So it is the Imam, it is the purified one who would have this knowledge. And this is very important. So, philosophically speaking, today those who do not believe in the Quran or in the riwayat and tradition, we tell them that, okay, we as a human being and as insan, as requires to have the deeper knowledge of Tawheed, that subtle knowledge of Tawheed. And that we have seen in the legacy of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, in the du'as, in their teaching, in their practices, to its perfection. And we trust them, and they have maintained the quality of knowledge of God. I mean, in the nutshell, it is the knowledge of God. Whether that be from a Christian theologian, whether that be from a Buddhist monk, whether that be from a Jewish rabbi, how much of understanding we have of God, how beautifully God is understood to its preciseness. That's what it's matter, right? That's the beauty that we see in the Quran, and that's the beauty we see in the teachings of Ahlul Bayt. They are the true interpreters, explainers, and teachers of the Quran, and that's why we follow them. You know, that is what imamat means. That is what leadership means. That someone who have that in-depth knowledge, and that is appointed by God. As it says in Surah Baqarah, verse number 123, وَإِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبِّي بِكَلِمَاتٍ فَأَتِمَّهُنْ إِنِّي جَاعِلُكَ فِي النَّاسِ إِمَامًا قَالَ مِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِهِ قَالَ لَا يَنَالُ أَهْدِ الظَّالِمِينَ. In Surah Baqarah, verse number 123, when Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam was tested, and then after finishing all the tests, God says, Inni ja'iluka fin nasi imama. I am making an imam on earth. And Hazrat Ibrahim says that I want this in my zurriya. And God says that not for the one who have done zulm. Sin is a zulm. Committing sin is a zulm. And therefore, our imam is masoom. One of the conditions of an imam is that he is masoom. He's masoom. He's appointed by God. He has the knowledge of God. He is hadi. He is shaheed. He is guided by God. All of these things are the requirement of imamat. So you have the proofs of imamat in the Quran and in the hadith, and also that philosophical or mystical, if you want to call, prove that it is only Imam who have the knowledge of that Tawheed, inshallah. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi tahirin. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, Mawlana. Sorry about that.
No, not at all. Very good.
Okay. You'd like for me to stop the recording?
Yes, please.